Hey, it's Kevin with Hunter Realty Group, your North Texas home hunter. We have a local Frisco legend here. We have Ernest B. Morgan of Ernest B's BBQ. Amazing food. We've got lots of good barbecue here in Texas, but his is a little bit special, a little bit different. So we're going to dive into the man, the myth, the legend, right? So his food, where he came from, how he got here, and kind of his presence here in Frisco. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to Ernest B. Morgan.
Well, hello, Kevin. How you doing?
Good. Better now I'm in this place, and I can't tell you how hungry I was, or how hungry I am now that I got here. It smells delicious. He's out. I pulled him in from the pit, so he's out there smoking some great food for us. But yeah, ate here for the first time last week, and completely blown away. The food is amazing, but it's to me one of those little gems in Frisco that not everybody knows about. I kind of wanted to introduce him, let him tell us about his journey to Frisco, his restaurant, and what he does in his off time.
Kevin, well, listen, I'm grateful just to have this opportunity to share a little bit about Ernest Morgan. My name is Ernest B. Morgan. I'm from a small town in Mississippi called Amory, Amory. It's the home of the Frisco Railroad.
Really?
Yes, because of the railroad system that back in years and years ago, the railroad, Burlington Northern, which was Mississippi Railway, would come through our little small town, and the cars would change over.
Oh, nice.
It was the biggest industry in that area. It sits central between Birmingham, Alabama, and Memphis, Tennessee. And so that's a little small city that I'm from, 6,800 people. But raised it my whole life. Me and my wife named Cicely. We just celebrated on December 28, 24, 28 years of marriage.
Wow.
My son name is Tyler. He's 27, which is the restaurant manager now.
Okay.
My daughter, her name is Taylor. She's in education at UNT and then graduate May of 2025.
Nice.
She's going to be teaching hopefully in Frisco ISD.
Excellent.
But I've been doing barbecue for 25, going to be 26 years. I've been doing barbecue. And the way I started doing barbecue is at a church function fundraiser. Nice. Little small church in my hometown. We was cooking out of a 16 by 16 metal storage building on side of a highway. Church was Greater Love Outreach Center, and the name of the little building was Greater Love Faith Cafe. And I started cooking there for the church as a fundraiser, and I would burn up so much meat. I burned up so much meat over the years trying to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
But I started cooking for the church, and kind of God just placed a gift that I didn't even know I had.
Yeah.
Through trial and error, I started perfecting ribs.
Yeah.
Pork ribs was my first thing perfecting, and kind of went from there. And so that's how I started.
Yeah. Nice. So what brought you to Frisco, Texas? How did you come to our humble little community?
Well, how I got to Texas in 2004, me and my wife and kids came to Dallas in Duncanville, where I came to Christ for the Nations Bible College.
All right.
And we moved on campus in Oak Cliff on Keys and Polk. And I was studying pastoral and missions. So we moved on campus there. So from 2004 to 2007, I lived in South Dallas. Right. And I started working at a car lot called Duncanville Ford, which was Redbird Ford.
All right.
On Camp Wisdom Road in 67. And I worked there while I was in Bible college as an intern. I met this guy, Canadian guy named Duncan McPhail. He was there, lived in Ponder, Texas, drove from Ponder to Duncanville to be the GSM there. And we became friends. He's from Canada. I'm a guy from Mississippi.
All right.
And he liked me for some reason. So I stayed working for him while I was in Bible college. Well, in middle of 07, he decided to move to Plano to work for Millennium Jaguar.
All right.
And I'm the only guy he called up and say, hey, will you come work for me in North Dallas?
Wow.
I didn't know what North Dallas was.
Yeah. It's a big honor, though.
Yes. So 6 months I drove from Christ for the Nations to Plano to work for him.
My.
Well, in the meantime,
It's not an easy drive.
It's not an easy drive. In the meantime, I had this burning to go back to my small town and pastor a church.
Yeah.
So I worked for him 6 months, and end of 07, I told him, I'm going back to Amory. He's like, no, you're doing so well in Texas.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back. So me and my wife went back right when we was getting a new president. Barack Obama was coming in the White House. I went back to Mississippi. We built a house, and I started over there in Mississippi, pastoring the church, but I couldn't shake barbecue.
Yeah.
So I started one day a week cooking at a lawnmower shop parking lot. I had a S10 2008 S10, a Ford Ranger that I bought from Rockwall Ford right before I left Dallas. And I had a 500-gallon stick burner. I had a guy to make me an offset. And I would just pull up one day a week and cook in this lawnmower shopping center.
Wow.
And work my way from that point back into cooking. In 2009, I found this old house in Amory. There was an abandoned house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on the side of a highway.
Mm.
Well, I took that house and took about a half a year to bring an abandoned place up to code to have one room that people can dine in inside of a 3-bedroom house.
Wow.
And that's when people say they discovered this guy cooking ribs in Mississippi.
Nice.
From 3-bedroom house, kind of like Randy's on Main and Frisco, kind of like
right
that.
down the road.
Mm-hmm. That's how. That's what happened.
Wow.
So from 2009 to 2015, we opened 5 locations of Ernest Barbecue, from Tupelo, Mississippi to Amory, Mississippi.
Really?
Yes, I had all that going, and I'd done that for so many years. My wife, some kind of way, felt that Mississippi was great. We prospered at the level I was at, but she just saw more. She said, it's something more for us. We ought to go back to Texas. And with us being married as long as we have, I've been preaching, like I say, since 97, I've been preaching. And she said, we ought to go back to Texas. So I kind of digged around and prayed about it. And I called this guy that I worked for at Ford. It's 2015. I haven't saw him since 2007.
Wow.
Called him up. We remained friends over text,
Yeah.
but we haven't seen each other. I said, man, I'm moving back to Dallas. He said, what you going to do? I said, well, I'm getting out the barbecue business. And he says, well, if you coming back to Dallas, you don't know what you're going to do. I said, right now, I know I'm not going to sell food. I'm just going to try to find a career and start over. He said, you got to come work for me. So where you work? He said, I work for a place called Crest Cadillac Infinity.
Oh, all right.
In Plano on 75 in Parker.
Yeah.
He said, you ought to come see the store. So I drove up in October 2015 to see Crest. They offered me a job. I went back and I stayed November, and December 3rd, 2015, I came back to Dallas by myself. My wife didn't want to move my son in the middle of the year. He was a senior in high school.
Yeah, you got to finish
and my
out.
daughter's in the 10th grade. So I came back here 7 months later by myself in an area that I didn't even know, period. No connections.
Nobody.
One
Just one guy
that I met in Duncanville. That's how I got to Texas.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, one of the things when you come into your restaurant that you notice is that it's not kind of the traditional Texas barbecue, right? It's got that Mississippi flair. Tell me about some of the items that are on your menu that you won't probably see in a lot of the barbecue places.
Well, I'm glad you said that. One of the misconceptions that people didn't understand about me was my whole upbringing was Mississippi, and Texas adopted me.
Yeah.
But my roots and everything I do is not Texas themed at all. I use the name home of the Texas style ribs. Even the sign over my shoulder, it says Ernest Barbecue. This is in 2008. Ernest B's Barbecue, Mississippi finest, home of the Texas style ribs. Even then I used the word Texas.
All right.
But it's never been a Texas style barbecue. Mississippi is a dry base, more like a Memphis style barbecue. Dry rub on the ribs, more of a sweet heat barbecue sauce. So one of the things is Texas major in beef, Mississippi major in pork. In Mississippi, the pork plant was there called Bryan Foods down in the Delta, Mississippi, where they made just slaughtering pigs. Well, in Texas, you're going to find butchers slaughtering more cattle.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite. So I was raised cooking pork. Texas people raised cooking beef. So when I came to Dallas, I came with pork ribs. Well, when I first came, pork ribs, pulled pork, anything pork, I really couldn't even give it away.
Yeah.
People wanted brisket, they wanted beef ribs, they wanted more Texas style stuff.
Yeah. More than what they're used to.
Correct. But one of the reasons one thing that set me apart, gave me a niche, I just was confident in my roots.
Yeah.
I said, well, Texas don't need another Texas style barbecue joint.
Bunch of those.
What's going to make me stand out? It may start out, you get a little pushback, but when it catch on, they're going to feel like Ernest B's is a home style. So you're going to feel at home.
Yeah.
When you come to Ernest B's, it tastes kind of like my mom cooked the food, right? So two of the things, pork ribs is amazing. My smoked chicken. So we take whole chickens, half chickens, we smoke those. Some of the things you're not going to find is most restaurants will have smoked bologna. Yeah. So I take a whole stick of what we call rag bologna before they slice it.
Yeah.
And we roast it 2.5 hours on our offset smoker.
Wow.
And then we cut it. When you order it, we cut it 2 inches thick. And my son put it on a flat top and brown it in a skillet like you would a piece of bologna at your house. So you're talking about a tremendous bite. Tastes like a smoked ham sandwich, but it's bologna. Next thing is catfish. In Texas, traditionally, you can go to any place that sell catfish and find a fillet catfish.
Yeah.
But very few people do a whole bone-in catfish. Wow. With the head cut off. Well, we do that in Mississippi. That's when you come in Mississippi, it's known for two things statewide. Well, obviously pork. Yeah. Number 2, sweet potatoes. Right. And number 3, whole catfish. All right. Catfish is throughout the state of Mississippi, cornbread, deep fried. Yeah. You score it in the middle, deep fried, and you can separate the white meat from the bone. Just it renders right off. Right off, yeah. So catfish is in Ernest B's. And then some of the other items would be a pulled pork sandwich or chopped pork sandwich with coleslaw and barbecue sauce on top. That's one of those Mississippi style deals. A Polish dog. So a kielbasa, whole kielbasa on a potato bun that we bake it on the stove, we brown it. And by the way, everything that we do here, we always give you fresh Texas toast that's buttered on both sides, and we order every order. But the potato bun with the barbecue sauce on it and coleslaw, or if you want pickles, onions on top on a long kielbasa, nothing like it in your life. I'm gonna have to get that. These are just some of the items that you're gonna find at Ernest. So here we go. Yeah. I started to go live a week ago. Our restaurant is very highly rated. And that's all customer driven, no employees or none of that. Yeah. Over a 3.5 to 4 year period since I started, we was a 5.0 forever. And we got a 1-star review like a year ago that dropped us to 4.9, but we 1,400 5 stars. Wow. Even now in Frisco, in this area, it's because we try to make you feel like Ernest B's was a choice you made to come. Yeah. And I owe it to you to be nice and to try to create an atmosphere, customer service, hospitality. Yeah.
Well, when you come in here, I mean, it feels like you're back in that house on the in the highway with that one little room, right? Mm-hmm. It's very intimate. Mm-hmm. You're out here talking to people, making sure everyone's doing okay. And it's just, the Frisco residents are a very discerning crowd, right? Mm-hmm. We don't just kind of warm up to anybody, but kind of watching you kind of, just kind of plug in with your guests and just that kind of relationship that you're building. I mean, that's what gets you the 5 stars. The food is amazing. A lot of places have good food, but the combination of amazing Mississippi style barbecue and then your kind of personal touch of making people feel like they're at your house, off a highway in Mississippi. That's what I found amazing. Now that you're telling me about all this other stuff, I can't wait to come back and try it all.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, you've been to Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
So when you come in Mississippi, it said, "Welcome to Mississippi,
Yeah.
the hospitality state."
There it is.
So hospitality, to be nice in Mississippi is just a natural. I don't even know I'm being nice. It's just something. So when I moved to Frisco, being authentic to me was huge. Again, the barbecue center, I went through a lot to even exist in Frisco cooking barbecue, not just Frisco, in Dallas.
Yeah.
Because I can name the giants of restaurants that's barbecue in this area.
Yeah.
And for me to get any recognition, our first statewide recognition, I had the restaurant inside of the place I sold cars. So Crest moved to Frisco. So the story was, when I took the job in 2015, in 2016 of May, Crest moved on 121 in Legacy, and I moved with them. Still, my wife and kids still in Mississippi. I moved to Frisco before the Cowboys came, Legacy West, Toyota. None of those places in Frisco.
Yeah.
And I'm a guy from Mississippi, small town of 6,800. At that time, Frisco was like 175,000 people. And when I moved here, and all of a sudden, I moved to this place, and I had to be intentional about building bridges. Yeah. And it didn't look like me. It wasn't familiar. I didn't know nobody. Yeah. Income bracket was 10 times what I was always used to. Yeah. And to try to start over in this area. And Crest, over a series of years, with my being good in sales, I excelled to top 6%, selling Infinities across America. But I walked away from Crest in 2018 to pastor a church that I started in Frisco in 16. And I was making a guaranteed salary. Yeah. And I walked away to pastor the church. I started cooking Ernest barbecue at my backyard in Frisco in my house on an Academy Sports barbecue pit. And to subsidize my income. I walked away from a sure income to something that was uncertain, but I knew God had placed it. So this is what I want people to understand. I'm not trying to be the next restaurant or beat nobody that's here. This is more like, to me, it's an honor to serve barbecue to people that love something that we do, something that we say, and something of that sort. So when I came here to cook barbecue, I wasn't trying to compete. Yeah. Because I didn't come with a plan to open a restaurant. Yeah. I come selling cars, and God just began to give me different directions. Yeah. So once I left the car business and got
leap of faith, right?
Yes, a real leap of faith. Yeah. And still is today. Yeah. Leap of faith to jump in an unknown area, progressing at a rate I've never seen in my life. 10 times the rate. I'm from a small town of 6,800 people. Yeah. My mom was on one street, my mother-in-law on the next street, my brothers, all my cousins, all my family. Yeah. Income bracket, 30K. You know, a great job in Mississippi, I'm talking about with a degree, would probably pay you, if you're making $50,000 a year in Mississippi, you consider doing well. Yeah, yeah. Now, others made 100, but very few. Yeah. But to move here, this was a whole different everything. Yeah. And here I am by myself, no wife, no kids, nobody. No support system, and no connections. We just had moved from Plano to this unknown area. Yeah. I'm riding in my van through this city, and God began to give me revelation of my why. Yeah. My why. And I started, just understood that personality would be huge. Being authentic would be huge. Yeah. Being a person of character and integrity, but also being who I was and who God had made me to be. And the fear of meeting new people was gone. I just literally jumped in an area that I felt like birds. I coined this phrase when I felt the peace. Birds belong in the air, fish belong in the sea, and I belonged in Frisco. Yeah. I just knew something about this city that God had called me here. And I didn't even have I didn't hear an audible voice. Yeah. We're in Plano, and I'm talking about, I felt this infant. Like, I just felt like, man, I don't know what it is, but
Just pulling you.
it's something pulling me in this city. And it wasn't familiar because I didn't know nobody.
Yeah. Nobody was up here yet.
And man, I went in 21, after I had left Crest, we go through COVID. I was trying to get my way back in the restaurant scenery. Went through COVID. My wife says, we ought to build a food truck, a trailer. The church is shut down. I'm online in my living room.
That's right.
So I'm running the church out of the house.
Right.
So we don't have a church building. Restaurants are shutting down. But we developed this concept of this food trailer. And I said, I'm going to fix it to where if I feed homeless people, I can go give away food. If we doing an event, we can go. I built it what we call COVID sensitive, where the pit was built on the trailer. I would have to have no contact with people that was at the window because everything was inside. AC, sinks, everything I needed was in the trailer. And even the pit was on the porch of the trailer that I can cook the food and bring it in. And it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
I built that with no car. We just had a car, no truck.
Yeah.
No truck, nothing. My wife and I designed it, found a company in Seagoville that could build the trailer, but I needed a pit. Found a company called Old Hickory in Cape Verara, Missouri, that built this concept grill to me. They shipped the grill to Frisco after 6 months of manufacturing. Then my friend lived in Houston. He drove down on a flatbed trailer from Houston, Texas, picked the trailer, the pit from my house, took it to Seagoville, and they made this one-of-a-kind idea I had in my head. I could see it, but I didn't know how that all was going to come together.
Yeah.
I was on that trailer, and Byron Nelson was coming for the first time in 21 to McKinney.
Tournament, yeah.
And I had a catering gig there to be one of the vendors.
Oh, wow.
But the trailer wasn't inspected. So I lose that job. Got it back to Frisco. Time I got to get the health department involved in all this. I get a phone call from Crest Cadillac, the owner, Mr. Brosen, which, by the way, Mike Brosen. If you don't know Mike Brosen, Mr. Mike Brosen, the GM, manager partner of Crest Cadillac Infinity, that gave me a job as a salesperson in 2015. Now calling me back to be a partner to bring Ernest BBQ into Crest. It's never been done. A restaurant having a barbecue full scale in Texas and two in America.
Wow.
And then I'm African American. Don't get that out.
Yeah.
Because remember, and just what it is, right? The matrix of this area. I was a guy that was driving, just wondering and thinking about in 16. And now this is 21. And now God has brought me from riding around just thinking about what I'm going to do to now I'm seeing some things manifest that I had in my heart.
Yeah.
He gave me opportunity to do something. He said, hey, what about bringing the restaurant off the truck into Crest? You're going to have 3 stores. You're going to have one in Cadillac, which is a bistro, like a Subway or a Starbucks in the service department.
Yeah.
A bistro in Infinity service department, a full-scale restaurant in the conference center in Crest, dine-in, seat 100, full-scale kitchen, and you're going to service Volvo, which is on the lot. So Crest, Cadillac, Volvo, Infinity,
next to it,
all that same lot. And and by the way, I'm nothing to do with Crest.
Yeah.
This is my deal. I have to lease the whole space out. So we leased out all this space to bring so I always tell people, when destiny calls, one phone call can change your life.
Absolutely.
I thought I was building the truck.
Yeah.
Phone call pulled me from the truck. I became so busy because we went from can run our own schedule to once I became corporate, now Crest opens 6 days a week. So that means Ernest B open 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Crest open at 8 a.m. service department. No, Crest open at 7 a.m. Ernest B had to have breakfast ready by 8 in Cadillac, Infinity, and Volvo store. Got to have food for all those customers in 3 stores, 6 days a week. That's breakfast, lunch, and supper. 8 to 8, 6 days a week.
Wow.
and it's all 100% Ernest. This is
Because what people don't realize is you're not just open from these, right? There's a lot of prep that goes in before that, and then at night, right? So you're not just working.
not just prepping the food.
Yeah.
Fixing coffee 5 times a day in Cadillac.
Yeah.
Coffee 5 times a day in Infinity. Ordering all inventory for Volvo, Infinity, Cadillac, all the water, the complimentary. Because my company had to do all of that.
Yeah.
It was one-stop shop. But I thought I just signed on to sell barbecue.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, but you know what? Mr. Brosen gave me the greatest opportunity. It stretched me to a point that I could no longer be small again.
Yeah. God put you through that season
yes.
to prepare you for the future.
Yes. And you know, I just met you.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're a friend.
That's you, though.
And that's the way.
That's pull that out of people.
That's the way I met people.
Yeah.
It's just, hey man, my name Ernest. What's your name?
Yeah.
My name Kevin. Well, hey, let's connect.
Yeah.
That's how my life has been. And that Crest opportunity, it pulled me into a dimension of I could no longer see myself the same. Here we go. In Frisco. Yeah. The same place I rode around in my van. Just wondering what's going to happen. And that's
crazy to me. So, because obviously we're talking about this amazing food, right? Which is good earthly nourishment, but anybody who's watching this video can see that you have a way of connecting with people. So let's talk about the spiritual nourishment that's kind of been woven throughout this whole interview, but really such a big part of your life and just a couple doors down from where we are right now.
Okay, so you said that. So in 2016, we had just moved to Frisco with Crest, and I was at the dealership, and car guys, if you're gonna be really good in the business, or pretty much when you get on your feet, you can kind of manage, but when you're trying to build real estate career, insurance career, sales career, in cars, sales career, whatever you selling becomes, you gotta marry it to get rewarded from it. Sales car guys, very few will go to church. And I don't know nobody, but I'm sitting in my office on the showroom floor. I'm selling of the month, every other month.
Yeah.
I'm in the community, Chamber of Commerce, networking, BNI. I'm everywhere, breakfast, networking.
Yeah.
In nonprofit. I'm a Rotarian in Frisco Rotary Club.
All right.
I was awarded Citizen of the Year in the city of Frisco in 2022.
What?
I just got last year the Drum Major Award by Collin County, MLK Drum Major Award. I'm in Texas Monthly Magazine twice, featured through the state of Texas.
I didn't know any of this.
I know Catfish,
Wow.
Barbecue. We got a sauce company that ships my barbecue sauces over the country.
Yeah.
I got a company that make it in Kansas City. They ship it back to me. It's my recipe. I hired chemists to do it now. So it's full distribution. I got the sauce rights. Wow. I got the seasoning rights to my they everywhere. All of that, but I'm watching on the showroom floor in 2016, guys not going to church.
Yeah.
And I'm praying, and the Spirit of God just dealt with my heart about starting a small group.
Yeah.
I'm not even connected to no church.
No.
I don't know nobody in Frisco, but I hear this, start this ministry. And what do I call it? Call it empowerment. You're going to empower people. You're going to lift people.
Right.
The same personality you have when you meet people, you will lift them up through a personal word, through some type of encouragement. And so I started this Empowerment Church in 2016 in the Marriott, in the Shops of Legacy, through a customer that I sold a car to named Ross Cable, which was the GM over the Marriott on Bishop. He gave me one room, and I said, I'm gonna have one service. I went to have one service, and somebody kept coming back, and that's been 7 years ago.
Wow.
Finna be 8 years of the Empowerment Church. The Empowerment Church is a non-denominational church that disciple people. Our motto is go serve love.
Yeah.
Go into the world, serve people, love people. By this, Jesus says, all men, you're going to know you are my disciple. I could see this church being eclectic, consists of the way the restaurant look. If you come in Ernest B's at any point, you're gonna see a diversity of race all day long, every day of the week.
Yeah.
It's because I always saw the world from a broad view.
Yeah.
I've never seen the world narrow. When I was in Mississippi, it was a narrow view, but I could see the world even from Mississippi.
Yeah.
That's why it was too small for me.
Yeah.
And so we
Couldn't continue.
couldn't stay there. So our church is predominantly African Americans only because of you just take the steps. I cast a vision and just wait on God to send whosoever will, let them come.
Yeah.
But this church is a non-denominational church, and we started out Shops of Legacy. We end up in Allen, Texas, because I was just trying to find a facility. I rented a Jaeger office suites on McDermott.
All right.
And used the courtyard there, the atrium. Went from there. We come back to Frisco in 2019. Pastor John McKenzie, Hope Fellowship Church, opened up the North Hall, the kids wing.
Nice.
They let us have that facility for 18 months. Stayed at Hope Fellowship, left Hope Fellowship, went in Cobb Elementary School on Till in Maine, went in Griffin Middle School on El Dorado, made our way back, went to Grace Avenue Church. They let us use the facility all the way back. Then we opened up Ernest B's barbecue right here, 6065 Sports Village Road, right here in Frisco, next to the field house. Opened up the barbecue restaurant, started having church in here. I would move every table out of this restaurant, all the way out, set it up like church, screens and all in the restaurant with Michael Parson on the wall, all these plaques. I didn't have a building. And one day, as I'm having church in the restaurant on a Saturday morning, landlords was here. It was a gym called J Fit in Suite 500 from me, right next to Safe Light. They had been there for 10 years. They're going to move back. I got word they're going to move back to where he lived. The owner lived in Prosper area. He going to move his gym back. They getting ready to open up, and this space coming available. And they asked me, did you know anybody looking for a building? And I had about a 30-second pause. And I said, I'm the one.
Yeah.
And so we've been in this space, 6065 Sports Village Road. We've been in this space. It's going to be 7 months I'd have had the church in this building.
Wow.
This has been a ride for me. Man, I'm grateful because it's been just great people I meet that has helped sustain me.
Yeah.
I told somebody yesterday, and this is for anybody that's viewing, when you pray to God, he always sends somebody.
Yeah.
We pray to God, a God that we can't see.
Yeah.
But he used somebody we can see.
Yeah.
So I prayed to God, Lord, how will I get the message out? And God said, okay, I'm going to send Kevin. I'm going to send Kevin to have lunch with you.
Yeah.
And Kevin is going to be one of the avenues that connect you to people that you've never seen before. Sometimes the message will go out, the gospel go out in many ways. Yeah. But it's always through somebody. So that's how my ministry, and the church has never, we haven't broke 100 in 7 years. But I think the impact of me coming here knowing nobody at all. And I have to, what I do, I'm thankful. When people come in the restaurant, they're not just buying barbecue from a guy. They sowing into our ministry. Like our church, I give to because our church don't have I need fundraisers. Yeah. I need people to help me now. Our ministry right now, I do a lot with homeless people. I go in prisons. I do a lot. But I don't have a lot of resources, but I give a big portion of Ernest barbecue. It go in our ministry because I've always been a bivocational preacher, and I didn't have nobody to set me up with a lot of money and send us here. I didn't come with a plan to start a church. God had the plan. I just followed his plan. And that's what's been that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. It's what an amazing story of just insanely good Mississippi style barbecue here. And then just a couple doors down, that's where we get the word. That's where we get the spiritual nourishment. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure and like and hit all the buttons and everything. When you're ready for some insanely good food, come see Ernest B. It's the best barbecue. It's different, and that's what we Friscoans love, is really good food, really good proprietors, right? When you come in and you meet him, you're going to be coming back for the food and to kind of hang out with him, because it is a special, special experience. So thank you for watching. Come out and see us.
Thank you.